Live to live night news. If you're a lot like me, then you might not like you. Episode 5, Hours of Clarity. Just here with Brentwood alumni, Wayne Schreiner. How long have you been sober, Wayne?
Well, I just had my 5th year anniversary on December 6th.
December 6th, yeah. Okay. So you've been Brentwood alumni since day one, only Brentwood programming kind of thing, or have you been at other treatment centers?
I've never been any other treatment center. I've been using drugs and alcohol since I was about 15 years old.
Okay.
And just been going steady ever since.
Until you found this place.
Until I found, well, I wouldn't say that. I've been coming to Brentwood since I was 9 years old. My dad is an alumni here.
Okay.
And so I've been part of this place since I moved to Windsor when I was 7 or 8.
So even prior to any involvement with drugs, let's say, you've been part of the youth group kind of thing. And
Right. I grew up around this building for sure.
Okay. I just wanted to state that just because any and all donations that come through the PayPal link below the episode, you can find it, will be donated through Hours of Clarity to Brentwood Recovery Home. And it's a nonprofit cause, so click, like, subscribe, support, all that stuff. You know how to do it. And I just wanted to kind of get into something about where you, like you said, you were young. I didn't even realize that you were here for the youth group. I just knew that you had come to Brentwood, and you are definitely a good inspiration to a lot of people around here. So having you here is a blessing. I appreciate that. Thank you. But now that you mention it, 7 to 9 years old, what was that like? What, coming into Brentwood and then, going through school, let's say, or whatever your path was? Maybe describe that a little bit. Getting to using or that.
Well, let me see. First of all, I moved here from Toronto.
Okay.
My dad was an alumni here at the time. He came here from Collins Bay Penitentiary.
Okay.
They had a Brentwood program in the jail at that time that Father Paul started there.
Right.
And my dad went part of the program and kind of got paroled from there to here with a bunch of other guys that were in the jail at the time.
Okay.
So he was here for about a year on program and living here in the building, and found a way to move our family from Toronto to here.
Okay.
And then that's when I started coming to this place, kind of on a regular basis. I used to come here for meetings, and my dad come for meetings. I wouldn't sit in on the meeting, but I'd be in the
youth
hallway.
Group or whatever, yeah.
I would be in the hallway while meetings were going on.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So do you have siblings too?
I have several.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a big enough family that the move was definitely a big impact.
At the time it was just me and my mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when you came to Windsor, new school, new people, new friendships, growing up, and then when did you say you started using drugs? Around 15 years old?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the path like there? How many years were you involved in addiction?
I started just the usual stuff, drinking, smoking weed when I was about 15.
Yeah.
And then when I was around 17, I started getting into pills.
Okay.
I started getting into speed pills,
yeah.
Ritalin and stuff like that, right?
Prescriptions.
Yeah, so I was snorting pills when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And
c'est la vie.
right. But the truth is, from the first time I used, I became a junkie.
Oh, for sure.
My brain changed. My innocence was gone, and I was somebody different.
And you know what? That's the part that I really want to get to people, that through Brentwood I was able to find my feelings in those moments and go back to those memories. And like you said, I knew I was a junkie. Now you didn't know that then, right? So when we first did it, it was just or the feeling of, and then coping with it and using it as an alternative instead of dealing with what life had to offer, right? So moving forward with your life, when did you got into boxing too or something, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I was in boxing when I was 14 years old or 13 or 12 even. Yeah, I was 12 years old. And that was the bulk of my life. It kept me out of trouble for a long time. I went all over the country, went to a lot of tournaments.
Okay.
And
you had a passion in it.
Right. And then when I started trying it for the first couple of times, like I said, something changed in me. My innocence was gone, and then my life didn't become about boxing club or being a good person or bettering myself. It became about
what Wayne wanted.
When the weekend's coming for drinking and smoking weed. And then I was it's Tuesday and Wednesday and then Thursday, right? And then it's just then that becomes my life. I was a junkie, like I said. It took my brain.
That's right.
It took me.
Consumed your everything. And that, I used to tell people that too. I thought it was cool to say when I was younger, 18, 19 years old. I'm you guys party on Friday and Saturday. Where are you Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, I thought that was something to brag about. And I look back at it and I was just slowly dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I was all in and everything. So it's safe to say you're manic as well, I guess. It's like the rest of the alcoholics, 0 to 100, no matter what it is, we're dedicated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But moving forward in your life, how old were you when you came to realizing you had a real problem, and knowing you needed help?
I was 37.
Wow, so look at that gap.
Right.
17, right? Partying, weekends, smoking weed, 20 years later.
Now, the thing about that is I knew, obviously, I was messed up for a while.
Yeah.
But I never thought I needed help.
Right.
I never thought about treatment or anything like that. Like, I lived on the street for about 7 years. I was like a junkie on the street.
Do you remember times through those moments where people like said you need help?
Once in a while, my dad would be like, Wayne, you want some help? I'd be like, no, I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah.
He drove up to me one day. I was picking through the garbage.
Wow.
I was picking through the garbage, somebody's garbage can. He like stopped by, gave me some money, and he's like, you want some help? I'm like, no, I'm fine, you know.
Right.
The furthest thing from me, I need help, yeah.
Yeah, the furthest thing from the comment.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm good. Like,
I was living at the downtown Mission. I had no job.
Yeah.
I had no home, no place to go, no girlfriend, no friends.
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
Isolated.
And I thought to myself, yes, now I'm free. I thought,
what a concept.
Nothing between me and my addiction now.
Right.
The disease truly had me at that moment. That should have been my rock bottom, but that was really the beginning.
Isn't it crazy the way that it whispers in your mind, and we think that it's our thoughts?
Yeah.
Like, we actually believe that when I wake up at 7:30 in the morning, oh man, great, like as if like that's my thought. Like I should be embracing my life. Like, you told me at one point, actually, on a share that hit me hard on a wall meeting, when you said you had to look for gratitude in the morning. That moment, I realized how much I really wake up negative. And I do have to find gratitude. Getting on my knees helps and stuff.
Oh, beyond that, you have to remember to do it.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So I have to ignore what the brain says at first, like kind of get out of my own crap, my own self-pity, my own I want to hit the snooze button and not think about life and just roll over again for 10 hours and just stay in my dark hole. Because that's weird that my brain says self-destruction.
Well, the truth is, even before my eyes open, I'm searching for something in my brain to be upset about.
That's weird, eh?
Before I wake, before I even open my eyes, I'm like, what can I be pissed off about? What can bother me? And I search and I find it, and then I'm like, I'm taken right away.
And we can be stuck on it. Yeah, I know it's crazy because like when I had to find the small things in my day that I am grateful for, I always think of you. I always think of that day that you shared that on the wall. So it's like 20 years of your life picking through garbage. Your dad pulls up to you, and that, even at that moment, you're still mirrored. Like, still only see your addiction, you, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like a pivotal point in your life. 37 years old. Where were you at that time when you said, I need the help?
Well, I was in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in jail. Yeah. The last time I got arrested, I broke into a building with a friend of mine. It was an abandoned building, and I was at the back door, messing around with the locks, and I thought to myself, broad daylight, the police are going to come.
Yeah.
The police are going to come because my friend kicked in the window and opened the door for me.
Yeah.
I opened the door, and I was trying to rig the door to stay open. It was silly criminal stuff, but
yeah.
I remember thinking the police are going to come, and then they come speeding down the alley, and then I ran inside the building, and I found a place to hunker down. Like, all the apartments were abandoned. They're doing work on it. So I found an apartment, went inside, and had a bunch of lumber in there, and I used the lumber to barricade the door shut. So the police wouldn't get me. Yeah. Like, I was messed up. I was brain dead. I was tweaking out, right? Uh-huh. So I heard the police come in. They're running up and down the hall. They knew exactly where I was because it was the only door that was closed. Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, how could you not know it's the only one that won't open, eh?
Right.
Like, I wonder where the guy is. It's like finding the kid in the closet playing hide and seek.
They're banging on the door, telling me to get out,
Yeah.
And, I refused. And then they told me they're going to bring a dog in.
Okay.
And they brought a dog in. I could hear the dog barking. So at my bright state of mind, it occurred to me to start a small fire.
You didn't.
I did. I started a small fire thinking that the smoke would deter the scent of the dog, and I would somehow get away with it, even though they knew where I was already. This is like the mindset of a drug addict, right? So I started a small fire in a barricaded apartment.
No ventilation.
Where the windows are also boarded up, so I would never be able to get out.
Oh my goodness.
And
that's your disease thinking for you.
Right.
That's the psychosis of it.
Right. So at that point, they had enough, and they started kicking the door. Like, it took them some work, but they managed to get the door off the hinges, and they wouldn't come in right away.
Yeah.
Because they're, they don't know what's going on. They don't know what kind of weirdos in there, what kind of weapons.
You're lucky there's not SWAT involved.
Right, but they had the dog barking at the doorway, and they were at the door, and they were yelling and threatening me. They're like, "Come on out, Wayne." I don't know. Maybe they didn't say Wayne, but the police did know me at that time.
Right.
So
Deep.
What they were saying was, they're saying, come on out, we'll only charge you with mischief.
Right.
Right, as opposed to break and enter and all these things. You'll be let out. Don't worry. Just come on. Just surrender. Or have to let the dog in. And I wouldn't budge. I went into the bathroom. I go in the bathtub and I put my coat over me. And I thought it was some sort of cloak.
Yeah, that you'd be safe.
Right. Yeah. And then eventually let the dog in. And then I thought maybe they would send in a German Shepherd, right? Because it's a police dog.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I grew up with German Shepherds. I'll be able to tell the dog, sit or stay.
Yeah.
And instead, it was this pit bull, the biggest head I've ever seen.
Oh, my goodness.
And it came and bit me in the arm and didn't bite me in the arm. It took my
Wow.
arm out of the bathtub and spun me around the room, and I was screaming and crying like a little girl.
Of course.
And the police came in. They were kicking me, and I got arrested. And still didn't occur to me that I needed help.
Right.
I really did. Not at that moment. Every time I get an incident like that, I end up in jail. The only thing I ever thought about is, when's my release day?
Yeah.
Where can I get money? Where can I get drugs? Where can I get a needle?
Right.
And that's all I would stew about for months until I got out. And that would be my existence. And that would happen over and over again. The only break I got from living on the street was getting arrested from some petty crime, going into jail, and waiting for a release day so I can get back out and do the same. I never lasted an hour.
That's crazy. I now call it a rescued instead of arrested, because every time I had those stints of sobriety, same thing in my life. It's like, I'm doing my thing, using over and over and over and over again, getting arrested, going back in time and time. It's like, I always thought, like, how do I make money while I'm in jail? Save it up, get out with a lump sum, same type of thing. Mm-hmm. So, like, I can relate to everything you're saying as you're talking. I'm flashing back in my mind, like, wham, 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 memory after memory, right? So it's kind of crazy, because I'm learning actually right now in this moment that I never appreciated or valued that I was being rescued for periods of time that probably saved the health that I have today, in my recovery today, or else I'd probably even be more damaged if I never got picked up off the streets those times, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy, man. So that was the last time you were in jail?
Not the very last time, but it was the last time I was ever charged with the real charge and did real time.
Okay.
I did get arrested. Not arrested, I had to turn myself in after I came into Brentwood.
Okay.
Because I didn't report to probation.
So you had a warrant.
Right.
Yeah, small thing.
Right.
Dealt with, figured out, father. Were you here with my father?
Well, let me tell you about Brentwood, though, what they did. Because I was here about 2 weeks, and I was still tweaked out. Like, my brain was not, I had a lot of fog from the drugs.
Yeah.
And I was still scared of things like reporting to a probation officer.
Right.
Because, like, when you're on the street,
it's a setup.
When you're on the street, you don't do stuff like that. Like, you don't go to probation, you don't do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not hitting the dentist.
In your mind, you're like, people are going to think I'm a rat.
Or whatever.
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? You're tweaked out. So I never called probation officer, and
that was still waiting for you.
Right. So eventually, for some reason, I got around to calling him, and he's like, "Yep, you got a warrant. I burned you." And like I said,
Great.
I told my group leader, and they're like, "Well, we're going to have to go turn yourself in."
Yeah.
And Brentwood sent me in with a letter saying I was on program, I was living there, I was doing my thing here, and they were helping me. And an alumni drove me down to the police station with a couple of other guys on program. I went and turned myself in. I sat in there, and they locked me up. And right away, they're saying, "You're doing 90 days."
Oh, yeah.
Done deal. And it was...
Any hope you had at that moment,
it's a very difficult task for me to get into Brentwood.
Right.
Okay? Because I struggled my whole life. I never thought about recovery. And then, I'll tell you the story. The time I got arrested for the dog thing I just told you about, I was charged with break and enter. I had to do 5 or 6 months in jail. My dad and my brother come to visit me after I wrote my dad a letter for the first time in I don't know how long. And I was writing him a letter, thanking him for some money he put in my account.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Thank you, Dad. It was strange for me to write him a letter. I never called him or nothing."
Right.
And my hand wrote for me. It was like the words, "Dad, maybe I need some help. Please don't forget about me." I've never said that. I never even thought it. I never even thought to write it.
Wow.
It just happened. And I sent it in to him, and he came and visited me and my brother, and they're like, "Wayne, maybe you need some help. You just got to do what we say for a little while, because you can't think for yourself, And at that moment, I was filled with relief. I'm
like, I don't even have to think
for myself, because I couldn't. All I ever thought about was, getting back on the road. Where am I going to find drugs? Where am I going to find a needle? And I'd live on the street.
Yeah.
I was banned from every hostel, Salvation Army, the downtown
Welcome
mission.
Center.
I wasn't allowed in McDonald's. I wasn't allowed in the library.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed in apartment buildings downtown. Everywhere knew me.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Like, there's a security guard in one building to chase me with a taser.
Wow.
Yeah, it got bad. Like, that bad.
Yeah, like don't come around here. But today.
So, well, let me finish the story. Believe me, you want to hear this.
No, I just wanted to hear how you felt today in comparison. That's it. Just one thing.
What?
Like as to them being banned from all these places, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then today you drive around freely. Like,
Well, yeah, today,
right.
like, I can go in these places because they don't recognize me.
Right. Totally different man. Anyways, continue.
Right,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I had the conversation with my father, and we agreed I was going to go into treatment. He's going to keep in touch with me because the jail was in Windsor, and, you know, he's going to come visit me, and we're going to stay in touch, and I was going to come into treatment. And then I found out I was going to be shipped to Penetang.
Okay.
And Penetang's like way up north. It's about 12 hours away on the bus.
CNCC, yeah.
Right. Yeah, CNCC. And through that process, I lost touch with my father because the mail's really slow. It's hard to get phone calls in jail unless you pay for a phone, you know,
Right.
that kind of thing, right? And so I really lost touch with the whole plan that
Yeah.
me and my dad had.
Did you get the 90 days?
For what?
For the final thing when they said you're going to be looking at 90 days for that breach.
Oh, no.
So when you shipped up to Penetang, you didn't get to talk to your father?
Oh, no. Well, like I shipped up to Penetang for another charge.
Oh,
I guess I
okay.
didn't finish that other story. That's what happened.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Well, what happened was Brentwood, with the letter I got from Brentwood,
Yeah.
they dropped all the charges, and they said when you complete the Brentwood program,
Yeah.
all the charges will be dropped, and you don't have to go to court.
Wow.
So it went from, I'm doing 90 days at that moment,
Yeah.
my lawyer took the Brentwood letter,
Yeah.
turned it into a get out of jail free card.
Wow.
Literally. And I did complete the 90 days, and they did drop the charges, and I never had to go to court again.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because in that moment, I was in despair.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a blessing for your entire life.
Right.
Like looking at 90 days, getting picked up, and then it's like they're telling you right away that you're automatically breached every time you're getting the 90 days, right?
Yeah.
It's a typical thing for anybody who's a recidivist, active, reoffense.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're getting the 90, you're not getting 30, you're not getting a promise to appear. Yeah, that's kind of shitty too, because like you'd have to go in from here 2 weeks in, and then just everything's gone, program's gone, life's gone. Like great, any hope you had, first time asking for help. Yeah, I could see where that's just definitely a bridge burner, right? But they give you the gift, and you complete the program, and in 90 days it disappears. So then, how did the 6-month thing come for Penetang? Was that afterwards?
That was just before.
Okay.
Right?
Sorry, I missed the.
So, like, I was describing, like, the difficult journey it took
To
me
get
to get
there.
into Brentwood in the first place.
Right.
And then when I finally got into Brentwood, I got breached. And I was sitting in that jail cell looking at 90 days again.
Yeah.
After, like, finally getting into treatment.
So you did the 6 months losing contact with your dad with the letter that your hand wrote to get through that with no phone calls and like just not even really a thought on it because it's like the plan kind of drifted because there's no contact.
Right.
I get, yeah.
So
yeah,
I did
yeah.
get released.
Right.
I got released on my birthday, February 28th. And from CNCC, they send you in a cab from the jail to Barrie,
Yeah.
where you get on a train and they give you tickets and send you home, right?
Yeah.
So I get out with these two guys, and one of them declares he's going to the liquor store right away. Right?
Man, it's a
Well, first of all, in jail, I stayed sober for 3 months.
Right.
First time in my life. I actually stayed sober. I went to AA meetings I had in there.
Yeah.
And it was difficult, but I stayed sober in there. And I had intentions on doing it. I just didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
And so my plans with my dad fell through. I'm in a cab with a couple of other inmates. One guy's going to the liquor store. The guy sitting next to me in the back seat pulls out a big wad of cash.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, my coke dealer's going to meet us at the bus station." And my first thought is, well, I'm going to rob you. Because he's like a little punk and I can rob him, right? You know how it is, right? Like, I'm like, I have no money. I'm a bum on the street.
But you shouldn't have pulled that out.
This is the kind of stuff, you know, like I do if it's easy.
Oh my god. Of course, if it's easy, right?
Right,
Don't
well,
give
it's-
up what's good for what's easy.
It's easy if it's easy pickings.
That's right.
So we get to
I used
the
to say
bus
if it's that
station.
easy, do it twice.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So we get to the bus station, and then looking at where we get out of the cab, I'm looking across the street, and there's a Salvation Army hostel across the street.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if I go through this stuff, the best case scenario is I'll end up right there. I'm in Barrie, it's freezing cold. I don't have any clothes. Like, I have some clothes at jail.
Just what you came in with.
I'm wearing the jail shoes.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I'm just going to get on my bus. I'm going to forget about this.
Good.
So I got on the bus to Toronto, and they take you on a bus, and then they take you on a GO train, okay?
Right.
It takes you to the train station in Toronto, and from there I had to walk to the bus station.
Yeah.
I had to walk from Union Station to the bus station.
Yeah.
In Toronto, okay? And I used to live in Toronto. I live on the street there, and I know where to get drugs.
Yeah.
I know where to get money real quick. I had a hard time leaving Toronto when I was there because like the drugs and money were just very easy. So that was like walking the gauntlet for me.
Wow.
So miracle number one, I got out of the guys in the cab. I didn't get in trouble. Miracle number two is I made the walk from the train station to the bus station without getting any trouble, without detouring to the dope spot or stealing some money or anything like that. I went to the bus station. I waited 3 hours patiently for my bus. Just sat there, right? And I know there's guys there I can get dope from. I know where to get the dope. I don't usually last an hour out of jail, okay? I don't. I'm like
typical, yeah.
So the bus comes. I get on the bus, and in London it stopped, and it picked up these 2 younger girls, and they sat right in the aisle next to me, and they're pulled out a bottle, and they're drinking, and they're popping pills, and they're partying.
The devil wants you.
And they're getting like, in my mind, who knows if it's true, in my mind it's like they want me.
Yeah.
Right? And they're going to Windsor, and you know, if I got involved with these women, I probably would have just ripped them off and got myself in a lot of trouble.
So miracle number 3.
So I avoided that one. And I got to Windsor at midnight, and I got on the phone and I called my dad.
Yeah.
So now I'm in downtown Windsor. I know
everything.
I know where to get anything, right? That's usually where I go. So I pick up the phone and I call my dad, and I'm like, Dad, yeah, I'm here. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, I made it to Windsor. I'm out of jail. He's like, really? I thought you were done for. Because like I don't last an hour.
So he's even like
he's surprised. He come and picked me up.
Right.
Brought me back to his house, where my 2 younger brothers are living, going to school, living their lives,
trusting you,
taking a chance on me.
Yep.
Right. And we went to Brentwood the following Monday, and they were closed because of some epidemic that was broken out. Right. So I had to wait a week.
Yeah.
To see somebody in here to get in. And during that week, the boys, my brother's mother, come by for a visit, and she had issues as well.
Right.
And she brought stuff in with her. She brought a bottle of these pills.
Yeah.
Right. And her and my dad and the boys left and went somewhere, and the pills are right there in front of me this whole time.
Man.
And that's another one of my things. Right? Every drug was
everything.
my thing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, like I could just take one.
No,
I'm making up 2. I could take the whole bottle, right? And I'm like stirring this back and forth for hours and hours, and I'm like, by hour number 3, I'm shocked I haven't done it because like I don't know how to not take drugs.
Man,
I don't know.
You're describing.
How do I do that? Like I'm wondering how this is even happening. I'm like, how did I not take this already?
Right.
I'm shocked in myself. So catch my breath, and the door opens, and they come back. I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Right, though? Right. That's the right thing to thank, because ultimately, you didn't practice any discipline through life, so it's the first attempts at any discipline in a positive way.
So, in the
like
dozen or so times I've been arrested and let back out on the street, I never lasted an hour. And this time I lasted that 12-hour bus journey from Penetang to Windsor. I lasted that week in my dad's place with drugs right in front of my face.
Yeah.
And
you made it.
We made it to Brentwood. So after all that, a week later, I get arrested again.
Oh my goodness.
For the probation.
Right, and then they say finish the program and it'll all go away.
Right.
So like you literally had a whole year of like and then attempts and temptation. So yeah, those are all huge miracles to get through, man. And that was did you go through program one time?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're one of the rares, I'd say, because there's a lot of people that, and that's the beautiful part about this is that you get honest, and people, if they do make a mistake, let's say, you come in, you get honest, and they'll take you back in for a tune-up for, 21 days or 35 or 28 or like, they're just how many ever weeks that your mind, like you said, it took you 2 weeks to even get out of that clouded vision. If we go back to drugs, the seed's already planted once we get here that this is a positive way of life. There is hope. there is people that will connect with you. There is like-minded individuals that'll support and help you think throughout your day so you don't ever mess up again. It's like basically my calling, Where are my friends? Where are my brothers? Why don't I fit in? How come I don't belong? I'm a loser. I'm nothing. I'm a failure. All the things that used to stir in my mind as a kid throughout teens, just to say F it and go do my thing, And then it becomes negative, negative, negative. Well, if I put a negative in a negative place, you're going to get a negative. But you take two negatives, you put them in a positive place, somehow we become positive. It's kind of I don't know how to say it, but
it's math.
Yeah, it's serene.
It is.
It is math. Two negatives,
negative makes a positive,
right? And it's kind of crazy because I look at the balance in life, right? And we're talking about miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle. Well, something had to be able to stop that way of thinking. So is there really a conscience in me? Where's that body part for the right and wrong? When we're just little kids and we want to feed our mom the french fry or want to give the hug out or, we're trying to steal the cookie and break the fire truck and smack your brother or something. You already know right from wrong. It's right here, and none of that changes. And I didn't get any of that until I came to Brentwood to get into the topics, get into the sharing. What did we do to hurt other people? Not oh, woe was me, and it's always like that too. The first couple of weeks, like you're saying, that clouded vision, that's what I'm stuck on right now. We're not able to share. It's what happened in my life. You'll never understand. You don't know me. You know what I mean? And it takes a while to break that down. So the 90 days is just like a flicker. And
it gives you a chance.
Exactly.
It's a chance.
That's why I'm not dissing any program out there because if I ever interview anybody from any other program that's made it and found their recovery, kudos to you. But Brentwood is where I needed to be. That's for me. And I don't have any issues with any other programs. But even let's say jail.
Well, here, let me tell you a story about jail at Brentwood. I was originally, when my father came and talked to me about treatment that day, we were discussing a place called Vita Nova. Okay, and it's where my brother went.
Okay.
And
it's another program?
Yeah, it's another program near Toronto. And that wasn't really working out in a timely fashion. And one day, what happened was there was a meeting. I guess they have meetings on a regular basis in the Windsor jail. Some men from Brentwood come in and hold a Brentwood meeting.
That's the Southwest Detention?
Right,
yeah.
right.
Okay.
So these men come in on the unit one day. It's just a surprise thing to the guys if you're on a unit. Oh, Brentwood's here, right?
Oh, okay.
So they hold a meeting in the day room, and you can voluntarily go in there or not. I'm like, I'm curious, right?
And what do they share and stuff?
Well, yeah, they hold a little meeting.
Cool.
3 guys come in.
Cool.
And they bring a meeting to the jail, right? And you can show up if you want or not. You can go do your own thing.
So you did?
Yeah, so I went there. I was curious. Like I said, I grew up around Brentwood. I know about Brentwood. I know my dad's an alumni of Brentwood. I know Brentwood. I know Brentwood. So when the guy sat in there, of course I sat in there. I was intrigued. I was interested in recovery at that point. I didn't know what to do or what was going to happen. I had no idea about my future at all. So I sat in there, and when the men held the meeting, I felt comfortable. I felt warm. I felt like I was at home. I felt I can do this. I really did. I felt that. And maybe I didn't make a decision right at that moment to come to Brentwood. The decision was kind of made for me through the help of God.
Right. Spiritually, you just felt
I just didn't resist.
Yeah, exactly. You just let it happen.
God was making this plan for me well before any of this even happened.
I think that's how they break down self-will, because those opportunities have been coming to me in my life throughout time. The teachers try to help you, your father, your mother, the hockey coach, whatever, right? You can go through the whole list, and now you just play the world's smallest violin the whole time. Pick my own thing, right? So those pivotal points, they have been interfered with. Maybe they didn't approach it the way I thought they should have, so I rebelled. Or maybe it wasn't the right circumstantial situation, so I picked and pulled that apart too, right? So, yeah, you're right. Just spiritually, you just didn't resist. You let yourself be brought to the program, which is a blessing, because what a transformation. I got to say that. And working with you, even going on a job with you, it's consistent. It's to the letter. You do things properly. You don't cut the corners. You make sure you're not lying, right? And we got that from here.
Right.
Got that from here. 1,000 ways to cheat a roof. 1,000 ways to cheat this and that and the other thing.
Even every day, I got to resist.
Right.
I still have little urges, due to the nature of my job, I can cheat all I want.
Right.
I can. I can cheat. Everybody cheats.
Yeah.
I have to work really hard and resist my own temptation to cheat. It'd be easier, I'd say 5 minutes, but
What's it really add up to?
Well, what it adds up to is I'm getting paid by the hour. Why am I trying to cheat anyway? I even said that to my boss, because he's discussing this with all the other guys in the crew, and he's you know, like, I don't know why this guy does it like this, and like, I don't get it either. Like, we get paid by the hour. Right?
Yeah.
Why not take the extra time to do like a complete whole job? Like,
And then there's not maybe a chance of a call and a complaint, right? You're going to come back anyway. Right. That's so funny. Why cheat? I get paid by the hour.
Right.
It's like hourly rate. And, we're on overtime right now, so I don't want to go home early, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense. But so now you're at a point in your life, 5 years sober, and you still come back regular basis, helping guys out like myself, and making an impact. Like I try to tell people, even if I don't know what's going on with my recovery, as long as I'm a face in the crowd, it shows for somebody else. Like, why does this guy keep coming back? Because I said that when I first got here. Like, who are these people? They're not on a program. And then I learned about what alumni are, and you know what I mean? And they're allowed, the doors open 24/7. Like, come on in, be an inspiration. Nobody gave me a permission at any other place I've ever been to in my life that said, you know what, Matt, you can come in and share your story. You can come in and maybe talk and give something that you've received to another person, you know? And that for me was like the big pivotal moment where I knew that I was in love with this place.
Well, I know that recovery and transformation is a long game.
Yeah, for sure.
And part of what's helped me is coming back to the meetings here and seeing new guys. They always say get with the new guy. And I know why now, because you learned a lot from the new guy.
That's right.
You learned a lot about the disease. You learned a lot about alcoholism. I've heard the same stories, the same kind of complaints, excuses, everything the disease wants to spit out when it's trying to salvage its existence.
In you, yep.
Right, in the man.
Yep.
Right? I heard the same story from different people.
Yep.
And you get to learn a lot about the disease when you over and over and over again sit in a group and hear other men like talk about their problems and stuff and hear like the things they do to their family, their wives or kids, you know, complaints.
But we're talking about before that even starts to come out, like they're complaining about like even the building, the people, the program,
right. It's the same.
I call it the world's smallest violin.
And you learn a lot about alcoholism when you.
I remember doing that. Right. I remember doing that.
You can reflect it right back on yourself.
That's right, because you see yourself in the person.
Right.
Or you've thought about saying what he is actually saying or doing.
Or I have said it.
Or I say it in my brain.
I don't say it out loud.
That's right. That's what I mean. Thought about it.
Right. It's all familiar, right? And then you're like, it all becomes like this big picture. And you see it clearly, and
I just had a breakthrough.
Then you're able to help people.
I just had a small breakthrough because that is exactly what they mean by staying with the new guy. Like that's part of the reason is so it's a reflection in a mirror image. And like I knew that, but just hearing you say what you just said helped me like really know that. You know what I mean? I don't know, it just something clicked right now where I just had like a moment. So, but regardless,
a moment of clarity.
You're right. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, I love it. That's what I'm talking about. And it's ours, bro. It's our moment. You know? Oh, I love it. I do. So now we're at a point where, like, you said to me before that you've been homeless. You've been, like even caught by family or like, accidentally bumped into. You've had those moments. You've been to jail. Yeah, you know what I mean? And how blind compared to today? Like, how can you see, and that's another topic here, blindness. So, like, how blind we were in our addiction, and nothing anyone said to me would matter in those moments. Like, I remember fixing bicycles and doing stupid stuff in my dad's garage and stuff, like, same type of thing. Like, I'd have, like, 12 bikes, He's like, what are you doing? You got a driver's license. Like, you have a car. Like, what are these bicycles? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm fixing them. Like, and I had no idea. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, half the stuff ended up just going to the dump anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like just little things like that, like just as a small example. Or when I'm dead set on a mission, like nobody can talk to you. You're doing it, And looking back at it, I just really realized like how much other people had my energy. They had the same anxiety, worries, troubles, as I had in a different place for a different reason.
The worst is when you're on the street and you have brain damage from all the drugs you take.
Right.
And your brain damage alters your thinking. And then you bump into somebody who has the same kind of brain damage and thinks the same nonsense you do.
Oh.
And then what it does is it kind of confirms and solidifies the nonsense you're thinking in the first place.
Yeah, that it's actually.
You hear about this stuff like shadow people, like tweaker stuff, right?
Yeah,
there's all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like stuff like I don't even like to talk about anymore.
Well, here's the thing though. That's your revelation. Nobody could see or hear what you were seeing or hearing, right? Same thing with me. I had mine. And like I was hearing all kinds of stuff in the hospital, thinking my parents were coming to visit me when I first got arrested, coming off all the dope, to hearing, I'm just bringing my son a pack of cigarettes. And then I hear my mom getting choked out and dragged into a room, my dad getting, forced to sign over his house. And because I financially took my father, right? I financially abused him. So in my head, that would be something I would never want for him to be physically abused or to have his hard-earned, life taken from him, the house, the whatever he's got, and they're making him sign it. None of that was real. Like when I called my dad for the first time after getting out of the hospital, he's going, "Oh, you're famous again. Good for you. In the paper, you're wrecking my name." Sitting on his couch watching TV, like. Okay, so but loud and clear, right? I'm fighting nurses and doctors, and I end up throwing pee pans at them and trying to kick my one good leg. I got 2 broken collarbones and a broken leg in 4 places. Like, so I get it. I know what you mean, but that was my revelation. That was for me to know that something else can be involved in my mentality, and when my brain slowly gets healthier and rewires itself, that kind of dissipates. And there's moments where you finally get healthier. Some people may never come back, and I pray for them. But moving on with my and yours experience, definitely 100% that's your revelation. That's something for you to know, right? And hold on to for whatever you go through now.
Okay.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because that's a breakdown of, like, nobody had to hear what I heard. Nobody had to see what I was seeing. But I know that, okay, if there's tricks upstairs, then that's the enemy. I do have to count on Wayne. I do have to rely on you. That's why you call me, I call you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, hey, man, I'm thinking about buying this thing. Did you ask your wife? Like, no, I didn't. I should probably do that. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I see.
Small things like that. I can't think for me, with my own devices, I'll mess up. With left your own devices, you'll mess up. But any alcoholic or addict does not want to see somebody else suffer by nature. We know what it's like. You know what I mean? So we could ask anybody that's in recovery a question. They're not going to give you bad advice, right? That's what the program breaks down for me. It gives me friends. It gives me a place to be. It gives me somebody like you to belong with and have that for I guess, as long as we both stay on the path, right? Some people stick with the program or lifestyle, we'll say. But the last 5 years, what have you gained?
Well, honestly, God has blessed me beyond my own faith.
Mm-hmm.
When I graduated Brentwood, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what my life was going to look like. I would walk by store windows and look myself in the mirror, and I didn't really recognize myself.
Yeah.
Because I looked different. I had like clean clothes, and my face was getting full. I was looking better, right?
Yep.
And
body of a god.
Right, and I had nothing.
Yeah.
I had some clothes I took from the laundry room here at Brentwood.
Yeah.
I didn't have no bed sheets. I had a place to live.
Right. That's gratitude right there.
Right. And in my brain, I thought I was just going to go live back on the street.
Yeah.
Because that's all I was used to.
Well, that's our fallback. That's why it does that, I think.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, it's because I didn't understand or believe in the future.
Or how to live life.
I didn't know exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that future for myself. I couldn't.
Yeah.
It takes faith.
Right.
So they gave me a place to live, and I had a bed and an empty room. I had no bed sheets, no pillows, no blankets, and people from the house hooked me up.
How was grocery shopping for you for the first time? Because I had to learn how to grocery shop.
My dad took me actually. So.
Okay, so yeah, you can compare. Yeah.
Right.
That's like the learning of life again. It's like, man, bills, responsibility, priority, and that is enough to overwhelm an addict or an alcoholic. That's people can say like screw this for even less, like just for wants or needs,
So the dry house they put me into was right in downtown Windsor.
Okay.
Right on the streets I was living in for several years. And I got to the house, I see people walking by every day I used to know.
Yeah.
Street people I used drugs with, people I did small crimes with. I knew the people. I knew, a situation like that was either going to make me or break me.
Yep.
And it made me. Because that's like facing the hardest temptation right there. Right out of the gate, I'm like, I'm in it.
Man.
And I'll tell you another story. One day, I was taking out the trash. I was doing my chores, taking out the trash, the Herbie Kirby's, from the back of the house up to the front, and then my old drug dealer comes right by on his bike.
Oh, my.
And he stops. He's chatting me up. I know what he's getting around to. He talks
doing
about
the thing, yeah.
And because he sees me carrying the garbage cans.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a street person.
He probably thinks you're still doing the thing.
He's used to seeing me with in the garbage and shit.
Yeah.
Looking through
But
garbage.
meanwhile, you're taking your own trash.
Really. So that's what he thinks I'm doing. He thinks I'm up to no good with the garbage or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So he's talking to me and he gets around to talk about the dope, and I'm like, I gotta go, man. I gotta do my chores. He looks at me, he's like, chores? What? You mean chores, right?
Yeah.
And I carried on with my guard, and he putted off on his bike. But
How
kinda
good?
funny.
How good does that feel in that moment? Like going back up the stairs, walking back in the front door, like it's all enlightened and like lifted. You know.
Well, by that time, I had faced a couple different temptations and overcome them.
Right.
By coming to Brentwood.
Right.
I was
with those thoughts.
Oh
right?
yeah,
exactly.
severely tempted. I was on a job site one day, and a guy showed up. I was stuck working with him, and he was talking about how he had drugs in his van. He's on drugs right now. He sells drugs, drugs. Right? He's basically offering me drugs.
Yeah, well, anyone, right?
Right, and I'm like, I'm going crazy. Like, it didn't make sense for me to say no.
Yeah,
I didn't understand. I felt sick to my stomach. I was crippled. I was like feeling sick. I couldn't function.
Right up, yeah.
So I did the right thing.
How long were you sober? How long were you sober at that point?
Like, I was like maybe a month out of Brentwood.
Okay, so 4 months. Okay, yeah.
Right.
So it's brand new.
So I just told the guy I gotta leave. I gotta quit work, and I left, and I come right here, walked right in my group, sweating.
Yeah.
And I sat down, and Jerry, my group leader, was like, told me to share right at that moment.
Wow.
I let it all out, and they're like, wow. And Jerry still tells that story.
Jerry Farnham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About how, I walked like an hour to get here.
That's program.
Right.
That's what you do.
And that was the first time I overcame temptation. And at that moment, I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Did you have a phone in your pocket the whole time?
No.
Okay, before the cell phone thing, or like it was just...
No, I just...
didn't have one.
I never owned a phone in my life.
Oh, yeah, you're in the streets and all
that. Right. I didn't know about phones. The only thing I knew about phone was that I could steal one and get dope for it. Man. That's about it. That's all I knew about phones.
You know what, Wayne? It's a blessing talking to you because, like, you're bringing me back, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You're bringing me back. Because, like, I remember, like, having isolation with people's... Like, I'd go into people's homes and I would sit around, do the thing. But I remember, you want this, you want that, you want this. And I'm going, like, no, I don't need that, but I could use that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I totally see all the things and all the people that were in and out of my life throughout time. As you're telling me this, I'm like, wow, man. Just punches in the face anyway. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for you for how far you've come. Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
And are you still involved in boxing right now?
No.
Okay, so this 5 years, you start working for a roofing company right now?
Yeah.
So you're roofing, you're working, you got your license now. You drove me here.
Yeah. Just boxing is what kept me good for a long while because I was in boxing until I was 17 years old until I started using.
Yeah.
And when I got into Brentwood, started getting some clarity. First thing I thought was, man, I missed out. I missed out my life. I want to get back in there, get back in the ring. And it was a fantasy at the time, but I followed it, and I was gung ho.
Right.
I started running every day, going to the boxing club like 2 hours every day, doing push-ups. It was all about training again, like I was 17 years old, right?
Yeah.
And then I trained for 6 months, and I went to this tournament called the Brampton Cup.
Okay.
And it was the first tournament I ever had a fight in when I was a kid, when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
And so now I'm at this tournament, and I'm signed up for Boxing Ontario, except I'm like an elite open fighter, which is the Olympic class.
Okay.
Except I'm nearly 40 years old. Because I have my past experience when I was a kid, I have 50 amateur fights.
Okay.
So now, except it's 25 years later.
And you're not the same person.
I train for 6 months and I go fight these Olympic caliber athletes.
Oh my goodness. And
I got stopped in the first round.
I love it.
The guy I drew.
You showed up.
The guy I drew was Canadian champion.
Who? Do you remember his name?
My opponent.
You don't remember his name?
It's
okay. Regardless, the point is that he was a Canadian champion. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll find out after the camera stop. That's how it always works.
Yeah, well, I got my passport, my boxing passport at home. I got to look it up.
No, see what I mean? And that's something. Maybe episode 2, you come back for another one.
But to train 6 months after 25 years and get in there and do that, it was stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did it.
Yes.
Because I did it.
You showed up. That's right.
I accomplished my dream.
And okay, so that's another thing too I wanted to get at, because I was just telling you on the way here, I hid my lyrics in the closet. I never followed none of that. Brentwood, I'm telling you, they gave me that.
Denny Nickinson.
Denny Nickinson. I'm glad you're
Yeah, he's from Quebec.
Okay.
The
So
Quebec produced great fighters.
So you get banged out in the first round. But you showed up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's the story of my life anyway. I don't even care. Anytime there was a problem, I'm at least getting one. Did you get one?
Huh?
Did you get one in?
Oh, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I think he's mostly just letting me do it.
Right, but
he was like a wall. He's built like a tank. He's like
ready to go.
Primed athlete, training for 5 years, just like all muscle. And I'm just like
6 months.
I'm just going on the noodle.
6 months
I like no
recovery.
muscle. I had to lose 5 pounds the day before the fight.
Yeah.
Because I was off weight.
Oh.
So I'm on a treadmill where the sweats, there's garbage bags, sweats, and I'm just drained. I'm looking like,
Coming
Going here, just like noodle.
little raisin.
slapping him with twigs, like just bouncing off him, and then it just, by the end of the first round, just like whack, whack.
Yeah, down you go. Yeah, okay.
I didn't go down, but I was like, whoa.
Yeah, over.
And the referee's like, no.
Well,
Mercy on me.
showing up, that's part of life that I'd say that most likely you went through too, is that we, like you said, I didn't make no appointments, I didn't go through school, I didn't do the things that were required of me to be of service to even be a son or a boyfriend or a brother or any of that, right? Like, I don't remember getting my brother's birthday presents or doing something nice for them. You know what I mean? Like, there was moments in my life, sure, I did nice things for people, but it was very far and few between. And
even then, it's the bare minimum.
The bare minimum, just enough to say, hey,
just to say, oh, I got a present, this is a token kind of thing.
Right, and half the time,
rest is for me.
When did you do, like, I did things because I needed something on an ulterior angle, you know what I mean? Something that, I'll go mow the lawn for my dad because I know he's going to give me $50 and I can grab a bunch of food while I'm there, I can do this, I can do it. Right, so you're not just helping them with the lawn, right? Mm-hmm. And it comes down to, like, I tell guys on program all the time, ulterior motives, like, what is your base foundation for your action in general? Acting in any form is going to be a reflection of yourself. So yeah, you help the girl with her groceries when she drops them because you want her number. Mm-hmm. She looks cute. Oh, she dropped her groceries. You'll pick up, hey, oh, and by the way, right? Or when it comes to, the disheveled woman that's struggling, that doesn't have the appeal of, say, the woman that you would have helped, so you're going to pick and choose, right? So because it's not attractive to you or it's not to your liking, so we pick and choose. And that always kind of seems to get through more because we're men and things like that pop into their heads quicker, right? Like, that's what they say. No talking to women. Don't do it for a year. Stick to your program. Like, and what do we do, right? Well, I think I can, Like, I remember Paul telling me, he's like, there's no reason for you to not try this. You'll have doses of happiness in your life and succession. Just give it a year. February 7th was my year. Mm-hmm. Here, and then I have 29 months of sobriety, right? Okay. So I'm going, boom, like, I didn't, know what white knuckling it was, And that's what we do when we're, in and out of it. So when you say you walked an hour to get here that day, to see Jerry in group, that's the white knuckling we're talking about. Because you did it, but you're just in the zone, right? I just know that I need to get there. At least you had the seed, right? I don't know. I hope and pray for people on program because that's what they need to get from us. That's what this message is hopefully going to send to people that are like out there struggling, that, are in different programs that need, aftercare or like a way of finding out what to do with their lives. There's help out there. There's homes, there's after plans, there's recovery plans. You just have to work with the counselors and actually put forth the effort to get the questions answered. How many times you ask a question where if it didn't get answered right away, you gave up? Like, just quit in life.
Before,
Yeah, you didn't get the result, right?
Yeah.
So we can relate to that too. It's just like, I don't know, finding your path.
I still do that.
Right.
I have to really dig in.
Right.
To get somewhere. And then, what happens oftentimes, it's a lot easier than I think. If you just try a little bit.
Right. They say, what's that inch? And you'll get 100 times.
Right.
You've heard that before? And then the whole, the cliches of
most times I'll count myself out. I won't even ask the questions. Like, you've already have the result in your brain, which is negative.
Premeditated.
Before, and then you don't even try.
That's it.
Right.
The biggest thing is, they're probably going to say this, or you know what, if I do that, then they're going to do this, and this will happen, and no point. And the world's smallest violin comes out. So yeah, everyday aspects.
Or I'll suffer with fear and doubt.
And what's a healthy fear to you now?
A healthy fear?
Yeah, give me a healthy fear.
Oh.
Well, I want to hear one.
A healthy fear?
Yeah.
The Lord, man.
Okay, so that's something. Okay, that's a big one. Let's say knowing that you have to do something extra in the middle of a job, it comes up. That person says, they also want this done. You're going, oh man, now I gotta. That's a healthy fear because you're taking anxiety on. You're going to get paid for it anyway, like you said, but now you're going, what am I going to need? How am I going to do this? Most people say, you see what I'm saying? You're in addiction. You want to get home. You're in addiction. You're 4 o'clock's coming, right? Like, I'm off. So just tackling any priority is a healthy fear today. Okay. Right? I learned that from them because they helped me build that routine up, right? I don't know. I just look at it as a lifestyle change instead. It's my choice to do it now because I can't do anything unless I choose it. It's been that way for a long time. I don't know. The last 5 years of your life, though, what's the main thing that you hold on to if you were to send like a message to anyone in any way, your words, just something that you hang on for a foundation or something important to you?
It's easy. It's God. For me, it's Jesus.
Okay.
And I've seen a lot of people get sober for a little while, but the transformation comes when you become a believer.
Yep.
Where is your faith going to come from? You have to have faith.
Right. Blinded faith.
The transformation, yeah. Like, you can't transform yourself. What I did to myself, if I had my way, I'd be in the gutter sticking a needle in my arm. Something, I didn't save me. I didn't.
Yeah.
What happened there?
That's right. All those little miracles you're talking about.
I know what happened there. People were praying for me.
That's right. Yeah.
And then I took a step and I started praying for myself. First time I prayed, I didn't use any words. I had no idea what to do, no idea what to say. I didn't sit down and kneel and be like, God, please help me get sober. Please help me find a place to live. Please help me stop getting in trouble to go to jail like I should have been. I had no idea what to do. I had no idea what I was doing. I just dropped to my knees and searched for hope. I just held my hands for the longest time. I'm just searching for hope. And I can tell you the truth, my life got worse after that.
Yep.
I didn't pray on Monday. My life was fixed on Tuesday. It got worse. It got worse for a long while. But those gears are being turned from that moment. Things had to get worse.
Yep.
So I would hit bottom and come to the conclusion that I did need some help because I would never admit it.
Right. That's a small thing that the rock bottom say. We can say we're at bottom when we're at a problem in life. Please God help me. It's because we're in jail or because we're homeless or because we have this or that. And then we set the bar lower and lower and lower. And finally your rock bottom is when you broke down on God on your knees, eh?
No.
Even still then.
Oh, no. God had to make things worse for me. So
that's what I'm saying though. But
right.
the point where you're breaking through to find that hope. And ask. You didn't have the words. You didn't have nothing. Just a feeling. Just please something.
Yeah.
Right. I can respect that a lot because it takes a man to admit that he's wrong, or a strong woman, a strong man, a real person. Okay, what is it? The knowledgeable person, someone who has knowledge, will never admit that they're wrong, and they'll try and they'll fail, and they'll try and they'll fail, but they'll never admit they're wrong and ask for help or that they don't know. And a wise man will take that, say, I actually don't know how to do this, find the solution with somebody else and create the answer, get the answer, and create their future or move forward in life. So a knowledgeable man thinks he knows it all, stuck in one way. That is submitting and surrendering.
So when I got into Brentwood, they tell you to pray here in the morning, right? They don't tell you pray to Jesus. They don't say none of that stuff. They say get spiritual, find out.
Higher power.
They don't say Jesus. I'm saying Jesus.
Yep.
I'm saying it.
That's right. That's you. Right. So for everybody out there, just ask. And when they say this is how you got to do it, try not to complain. Just try and do it.
So I started praying with words.
Right.
And I had a couple prayers. I asked Jesus to take the sickness out of my body.
Okay.
And he did.
Yep.
And I asked Jesus to restore my sanity.
And he did.
He did. And he's continued to do things for me since then. Like I said at the beginning, I've been blessed beyond my own faith because I still suffer from worry and doubt. And whenever I get too worried or in fear or in doubt, Jesus doubles down and says, here, look what I can do. And he shows me over and over again.
Yeah.
Like all my prayers have been answered.
Life has
and then some.
Yep.
And I don't know if prayers can be answered praying to higher power.
Right.
I think it needs to be more personal. I think you got to have a personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
I don't mean a religious experience where you just do what religion tells you to do blindly.
Right.
A personal experience between you and God.
Right. And what you feel.
And that's where the transformation comes.
That's right.
And praying and trying and praying.
Again, coming back to when they cut you open, where's your conscience? Where's the organ for right and wrong? Where's your guilty organ? Where's your body part that says you have remorse and shame and guilt or hope, faith, love, compassion? Well, that's your heart. Love is your heart. No, that is a 4-valve pump, okay, that moves as a muscle and it pumps the bottle so your heart can put the stuff through your body and your body can think. And like there's no organ for your conscious and your subconscious being. So like you said, even before I open my eyes, I'm already attacking myself, looking for something, right?
There is the Holy Spirit.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about right there, because why? If I do something wrong, I feel it right here. I know in my gut. I do something wrong, I feel it right here. I feel enlightened, and it's gifted to me later. I go and empty an ashtray, I sweep up for a guy, have a good talk with someone that didn't expect it, or just ask how someone's doing, or just do the right thing. 10 minutes later, an hour later, a week later, a month later, blessings come. And I do believe that 100% wholeheartedly, whether it's Father Paul I pray to, Jesus Christ, positive energy in the atmosphere. My knees, actually, look it, I did it in the parking lot. I got dirt on my knees right here just before I came here. I don't know, maybe I wiped it off. But I had to, because I was having a moment where I just went to a meeting for some employment, right? And boom, I get on my knees afterwards. I'm just like, whatever happens, it's you. Like, it's you. I got the music playing in my earphones right in the downtown Mission parking lot, dropping my knees. You know what I mean? Nice. Because, I don't care today. And tell me, you get on your knees, how many people's heads turn? None. Nobody cares that you're on your knees. You can pray in the public. Mm-hmm. You could do, and another alumni taught me that.
Well, at the mission, you blend right in because people do all kinds of things.
Okay, so this concludes this episode. Right. We're gonna end this here. Anyways, we got some information from you, buddy, and it's a little bit about your life. I love you. And anytime, you're welcome back anytime. This concludes Hours of Clarity, episode 5. Just for the people, if I got to say one thing, just never give up that hope he's talking about, because truthfully, if you believe, then you will succeed. Have a great day. Thanks.